Okay, welcome back to homeschool gym class, our second video on arm wrestling. Like we covered in the first video, the very first best thing you can do to get better at arm wrestling is to compete. Don't spend a lot of time in the amateur or the novice classes. What you do, go to one or two to figure it out, get in the pro class as soon as you can, hang out with the pros, hang out with anybody there. You'll pick up a lot, you'll get a lot better, a lot faster, just competing more. After that, find yourself a good team, get some table time, take their advice, don't take their workout, listen to how they got good and better, but sooner or later you're going to have to figure out how to train yourself. Now, after competition and practice on the table time, you're probably going to want to start getting some actual resistance training, weightlifting or something like that. That's what we're primarily going to focus on in this video series. We might cover a few techniques later, but if you're looking to learn arm wrestling techniques and stuff, you're probably not interested in this channel. You're probably interested in the 100 or so other channels out there which emphasizes skill and technique over strength. Our weight training strategy is based on the West Side barbell system. Now, we don't adhere to it very strictly. We like their formula, we like their strategy. I've basically adapted it to myself for a lot of years, but you power lifters and stuff out there that are familiar with this, you're going to see that we take a lot of liberties with it, but it's we're training small muscle groups. We're training forearms, biceps, shoulders. We're not training to make big powerlifting numbers in the bench or the squat. So just bear with me. We're not copying it directly, but we're definitely inspired by the West Side barbell system. And there's lots of articles on that website. Anything you would ever need to know about getting strong is on that site. Okay. So, when you're done with this video, definitely go over there and learn about things. So, a basic weightlifting program for us is, one, we're going to train our vectors. And the West Side barbell system tells you to do that with a dynamic day, otherwise called speed day, and a maximum effort day, usually called max day. And then there will be several other bonus workouts that we'll add later, but overarching the whole West Side barbell system is the conjugate method. When you get your homework and you go over to that website, you need to read the articles on dynamic day, maximum effort day, the conjugate method. Later on in the video series, we will talk about isometrics, we'll talk about plyometrics. Every arm wrestler thinks they know how to do those. Almost every arm wrestler I've seen is doing them incorrectly, in my opinion. At least they don't do it the way we're going to teach you here. So, vector training. My favorite vector is just straight side pressure. But if you top roll, if you hook, if you press, you can use the same method. And the conjugate method, which is highlighted at West Side Barbell, we will train all those different methods with our program. So, first and number one thing, what you got to do, okay, let's just lay out our workout. So, okay, so we got 7 days a week that we can train. Now, you need to pick, now for our purposes, maximum effort day on arm wrestling is the most important workout we're going to do. So pick a day that you're not usually going to skip. For me, weekends are hard because work and family sometimes interferes. And if you always go to the bar on Thursday night and you feel like shit Friday morning, don't make Friday morning your maximum effort day. For me, and it's been this way for years, this is Wednesday morning is max effort day on the vector. Okay? Now normally you would pick a speed day on a Monday and a max day on a Thursday to separate them by as much as you can, but we'll get back to that in a little bit later. So, also, arm wrestling training is always in the AM, okay? Your most important lifts and stuff have to be first thing in the morning, or else you'll miss it. If you try to train after work and work goes long, or if you try to train in the evening and something comes up and you'll miss it, you have to get your workouts first thing in the morning, or else you miss them. And, well, you know, what's more important, your job, your family, or arm wrestling? Because your job and your family aren't giving you free t-shirts, but arm wrestling is. So, we will put Dynamic Day on Monday. It could have been Friday. For me, it's been on Monday since at least 2000. These Dynamic Day on Monday, Max Effort Day on Wednesday has been that way for me since at least 2000. So, when you go to the Westside Barbell System, the conjugate method is we need several different exercises, so we max out on a different exercise every week so that we don't acclimate to it. We will cover techniques and weight training and stuff before. You can use weights or bands, usually a combination of both. I've had both gyms I've trained in. I've trained in my garage in my house for years with nothing but bands. Today I'm very lucky because I have a friend of mine who gave me a weight stack, and I recently purchased my own power rack. So I've got just about everything a gym would have in my basement. After these two, to round out the, so we're still talking about just arm wrestling right now. This leaves Friday in the AM to kind of round out your morning. Friday, I've used either that for like a volume day, what the Westside Barbell System calls a repetition method. I've used it for another max day. I've used it for like a rehab day. I've used it for a lot of stuff. Today, I'm currently trying another dynamic day, Friday morning. And what distinguishes between the two of them is on Mondays, I do my vectors where the resistance is perpendicular to the table, and on Fridays, I do it where it is parallel to the table. So I'm using a pulley system, a weight stack. So either on Mondays, I'm sitting up to the table, my free hands off to the left, my elbows here, and the weight resistance is coming straight towards me. On Fridays, I sit up with my table parallel, and the weight resistance is going this way. So this is more of a side pressure on Friday, and Mondays is perpendicular to the table. We will cover all the different max vectors pretty soon. The only thing we're going to round out on this particular episode is evening workouts, is when you really start getting serious. So here, evenings I do either isometrics or plyometrics, and once again with the conjugate method, we flip the exercises and we flip the directions a lot. So this will be either isos or plyometrics, and they'll either be parallel or they'll be perpendicular. And we do those, I do those every evening, unless I shouldn't have written it down. I will do either iso or plyometrics on Monday, not Tuesday evening, because Wednesday morning is my max effort vector day, and that's how you're actually gauging if you're getting stronger. If you are not consistently getting stronger, you have to change something in your workout. But Wednesday evening, I will do iso or plyometrics. Again on Thursday and on Friday. Weekends, I do not train in the evenings, okay? Just because you need some sort of break. We will talk about overtraining and undertraining later, but basically, if you're worried about overtraining, nobody's worried about arm wrestling. Far too many arm wrestlers are undertrained. I've met very few that are overtrained. Your body will kind of tell you if you're doing too much. If you're really grinding, if your body's really being pulled down by your training, usually a day or two off will bounce you back. I don't worry too much about overtraining. I was going to end the video here, but at this point, let's just go ahead and round the rest of the video out since it doesn't really matter. Sundays for me is I do a max squat here. And once again, if I'm cutting weight, or you folks out there that have to cut weight to make your weight class, you don't want to be doing a lot of squatting, deadlifting, benching, or rowing with full reps. You can still train those big muscle groups, and I recommend you do, but train them with an isometric, something that's not going to build a lot of muscle mass. And well, we'll talk about cardio later. I do almost no cardio. Even if you're cutting weight, you're going to want to me that just makes you weak. And if you're gaining weight, it just makes you small. So Sundays is my max squat day. Tuesdays is my max bench day, and this is where we take a little liberty with the West Side barbell system. I'll do a max bench on this day, and then it's followed up by a speed day of rowing. Only because arm wrestling is both a combination of pressing and dragging movements, so you want to get both of those big muscle groups in. Thursday is my speed day for squat, and I know I called it dynamic day and maximum effort day, and now that I'm writing it, I'm calling it max day and speed day. I'm going to switch those terms around all the time, and it's pretty common. For others will do it as well. And then Sundays is my max row day. So that's max row, and then it's also my speed bench. So yeah. And after speed squat, I'll do some deadlifts, by ones. Here I hit the core and the abs afterwards. On arm wrestling days, I finish out with some bis and some triceps, biceps, triceps, biceps, triceps on these days. Max row, speed squat. Again, I do the core, which is basically a good morning, a bend over, something that hits the lower back and the abs. Same thing on this day. So every one of these routines in the morning, it takes me about an hour and 20 minutes to get through each one of these workouts, but it does take me about an hour to warm up. So I got a full 2.5 hours in training here, but really when it gets down to lifting, it's only about an hour. And I take my time. I'm in my basement, I'm watching TV, it can be sped up quite a bit. These isometrics and plyometrics, that's about another hour in evenings. And just because I don't hit them anywhere else, I finish these up with some shoulder work. But be careful with your shoulders. The shoulders are a complex muscle group. It's easy to tweak them, it's easy to get them sore. Please don't do anything with bars and stuff behind your head. Just be careful with them. And forget everything you've ever read in a bodybuilding magazine. We're here to measure the weights we lift. We're not interested in measuring the arms that lift them. That should be enough for this week. We'll see you in a coming up video.